It's time for us to talk about user experiences as opposed to user experience design. Today's digital experiences are embedded within larger activities through which people interact with their social and physical world. Understood through this expanded framework, experiences mediated by design include what users do before and after their interactions with technological screens. This is an expanded way of saying that there isn't necessarily a difference between our physical and digital lives. They're so enmeshed that we need to think about these as holistic experiences for users. Take a second to think about what was the last service you used or scenario where you encountered physical and digital interactions, and how was it? To give you one example of what that might look like, take this experience of shopping for pens. In the screenshot on the left, you'll see in a screenshot of the Target app where I may have searched for where I might purchase these pens. I could even pay for it online and then decide to pick it up at the store. In the center, I get an email confirmation that I have ordered the pens and that they are ready for pickup at the store that I chose. And then on the right, I actually go to the store and pick up the physical object. And so there's a few different steps in here, and not all of them are within one app or one screen. We have the mobile application on the left. There's an interaction through email in the center, and then a physical interaction of pickup on the right. So even though these are three different touch points, for me as the user, these are all one experience. Another example, we might think of something like DoorDash. First, we have to be made aware that the service exists. Maybe we think about it when we're hungry and are short on time. We have the digital interaction of ordering food through the app. And then there's a physical touch point where we actually get the food delivered, and we might encounter some branding there as well. So DoorDash wants us to think about this as a holistic experience. One final example, thinking about flying. I might book my flight online, and then within this app, there's even a map of the airport to navigate to the terminal, and then the boarding pass can actually be scanned from the app. So there's a lot of in-screen interactions here, but all of this takes place in a physical location. And American Airlines has to think about these two things together as they're designing that app. So this list goes on. There's a million of these. The point is to think about design as an approach to problem solving, and as these digital artifacts or visual web design as the end result of thinking through that problem, and not as the start of a brief. So not starting a project thinking this project is to design a website, but rather to think how can we give, for example, airline customers a better experience on their travels. For us, it's helpful to have some type of tool or framework to think about these experiences so that we can improve them for people. One tool that I'll give you to think about these experiences is the 5E experience model. And as you might imagine, this is broken down into 5 steps. So the first is excitement, where the user has to become aware of the experience. They then enter into the experience. Engagement is where that actually takes place. And then they exit. There's a clear end to the experience, and then it might be extended by a physical or digital take home or reminder of what has happened. So to give you an example of this, thinking about the airline travel, the excitement phase might be deciding to plan a trip with your friend, deciding that you want to go on vacation and being made aware of what the different options are for traveling to that destination. You enter into the experience by beginning the process of purchasing airline tickets. You actually engage in the flight after you get your tickets. You're at the airport You're traveling to the destination, you're on the plane. Maybe even you take the same airline back, and then you exit the experience when you are done traveling from the airline. And then an extension might be something like a follow-up email or a thank you or reminder that you flew with that airline and that travel took place. What this framework does is it gives us a standardized way to break experiences down, to think about what the touch points are at each phase of that process. So, thinking about what is it that the user actually does to move through that experience and how do they feel at each point during it. Again, this table is really helpful to keep in mind where we're thinking about what is appropriate for this design solution, not necessarily what is the most efficient way to solve this problem or what do we think is factually correct, but what makes sense for the people involved and how do we design an artifact that solves their problem.